Hey, I'm Michael Papajohn, and I'm watching Kendall Talks.
Preview. Put the money in the bag.
Hurry up! Hey! He stole the game! Stop that guy! Stop him! He's got my money!
Thanks.
What's up, guys? It's your host, Kendall Tucker, man. Today's guest is a stuntman and an actor. He's been in several films such as Spider-Man, Jurassic World, Longest Yard, Charlie's Angels, Transformers, much, much more. I'm excited about this interview. Today we have Michael Papajohn. How you doing, brother?
Hey, Kendall, man, thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. How's quarantine life treating you?
Well, first, let's talk about Kendall Tucker. Tucker, I love that name. Number one, it's my dog's name.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah, I got a little toy poodle. He's 2 years old, man. He's brought so much joy to our family. His name's Tucker.
Oh,
so,
that's good.
And I also played a character, Tucker Kane, in a movie called Little Big League.
Oh, Little Big League, yeah.
Yeah, and so Tucker is you're my third Tucker to meet, and the first two were pretty awesome. So, you know.
Awesome, man, awesome. Well, there you go, man. That's how the Tuckers do it. I'm glad that you haven't met a bad Tucker yet.
No, three's a charm. Three's a charm.
There we go. So how's quarantine life treating you?
It's you know what? It feels like a movie in a lot of ways, you know, but you know, I kind of just taking one day at a time. Been able to spend a lot of time with my family. You know, I have a 12-year-old, so he just finished sixth grade, and the whole thing with online teaching and you know, trying to figure it out. And you know, the teachers did such a great job, but I felt pressure that, you know, was he doing his homework or was he playing Fortnite? I have no idea. You know what I'm saying? So, but you know, it's been a time to kind of, I know I've been fishing a lot. I love to fish. I love the outdoors. So, I'm just kind of, you know, I could tell that, you know, with the business and when it was going to start up again, you know, you kind of feel like you're on shaky ground. And I just started to try to slow down, you know, and just, you know, it's all going to, I'm an optimistic guy, but everything's going to fall into place. But did a lot of yard work. And I know that fishing is kind of a meditation to me too. So I've been able to fish a lot. You know, badminton thing in my backyard and just kind of chilling around the house and not going anywhere, you know?
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you doing what you can, just waiting for life to get back to normal.
Yeah, but I've been doing some creative things too. I'm a documentary filmmaker also, so I've been able to a lot of really cool content that I've had. I picked up a camera about 20 years ago and just started filming different subjects, and it's interesting when you start pulling that old content up. And I've been able to kind of organize my stories and where they might go, and just kind of looking at organizing content and just kind of looking at it all and watching people age and revisiting them. And it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Now, you have a very interesting story, and I want to hit on this because some people might not know how you got your start in acting. Your first love was not acting. It was actually baseball. Tell us that story from playing college baseball to transitioning into acting.
Yeah, I'm from Birmingham, Alabama. Went to high school there, and I knew out of high school I wanted to play football or baseball. I wanted to be an athlete in college, and I felt like I had a better chance to go farther in baseball. So I ended up going to a junior college in Florida, Gulf Coast Community College, Gulf Coast State College, Panama City, Florida, right in the Panhandle. I went there 2 years and then got recruited again. And then I was able to go to LSU and become a Tiger and, you know, bleed purple and gold. And it was a special time. But the movie business came to me. I didn't really think about the movie business. You know, I love movies, man. I mean, when I was 7, 8, 9, we can go back to your childhood and you think of Billy Jack and you think of Burt Reynolds and you think about those movies kind of you watched and you were just really shaped. I didn't realize Buford T. Pusser and I mean, Walking Tall. I mean, these are films that I saw when I was 7, 8, 9 years old that, you know, especially, I go back to I could go back to my childhood in movies, but I didn't know I was going to be in the movie business. They shot Everybody's All-American, a movie Taylor Hackford directed, in Tiger Stadium in 1987, and they were looking for LSU athletes to be part of the football team, Dennis Quaid's team and the opposing team. So, and they were, you couldn't be eligible. You had to be kind of like on your last semester, to be able to get paid, and they were looking for athletic guys. So one thing led to another. I got on the football team, which was really great. And then they asked us if we take hits or deliver football hits, they'd pay us more money. And I had like $11 in my checking account. And I said, yeah, I'll take some hits, and started taking these hits and doubling Dennis Quaid. And Taylor Hackford grabbed my arm and gave me a trophy at Tiger Stadium in front of like 14,000 extras, saying, hey, Papajohn, you're athletic and you're a really good guy. I think you should be a Hollywood stuntman. So he's the one that really introduced it to me. But I mentioned that trophy night because it said on the trophy, it said world's greatest hitman. And I still have the trophy in my office. And, you really think about people that's why I love doing these interviews. I get to really, really think about the people that shaped my life and really acknowledge them for their generosity, or I wouldn't be talking to you now, and which got me in I think, the funnest business in the world, So it's been a hell of a ride, man. It's crazy. I can't believe awesome. It's been, we're going over 30 years,
That's awesome, man. Now, is it true? I read online that you were drafted by the Texas Rangers, and instead of signing the contract, you chose LSU. Why was that? Like, is that true?
Yeah, no, it's true. It's funny, you read the internet, you don't know what's true and what isn't.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm doing enough of these interviews. I've asked questions. They're like, "Where'd you get that?" I'm like, "Sorry."
Yeah, no, I got drafted by the Texas Rangers out of junior college. My arm, I was a really good defensive player, and I had some arm issues that year they drafted me, and the money wasn't great, to be honest with you, and I wanted to play in the SEC. Even if the money was really good, my arm felt great, and I still think the opportunity for LSU to get recruited again, because what's great is when you go to a junior college, you get in a lot more games. Mm-hmm. I got to get bigger and faster, and then I got recruited by the SEC schools, which was nice. And to become a LSU Tiger, like I said, changed my life too. I wouldn't be in the movie business, and had a lot of generous coaches here, and the Tiger Nation is awesome, man. Once you it's I mean, everybody has their SEC story or their college story, but mm-hmm. there's Louisiana's all about passion, and they're very generous people too. So on and on about LSU. So that was kind of my road to LSU and into the movie business.
Yeah, very cool. Now, you started as a stuntman. You're still a stuntman, but how much work did you do as a stunt double before acting and having a speaking part in a film?
Well, when I got out to I want to just say real quick, I went and had a great one-on-one conversation with Skip Burtman, my coach. Actually been shooting a documentary on him for the past 2 years, but he gave me some great advice because he used to coach Mickey Rourke and Andy Garcia, and he used to talk about Miami Vice because he coached down in Miami and University of Miami. But I remember I had a great conversation with him before I decided to take on the movie business. And he just gave me some great advice. He said, look, Papajohn, just be a team player like you were at LSU. You work hard, find some great mentors and coaching, and go to work. Go give it a shot, because I wasn't sure if I was even going to go out to California. And but when I got out there, I got it. I did do some. I'd gotten softball leagues, man, right off the bat. So I met a lot of people really fast, and they could tell, I wasn't I felt like I was a good guy, and I was a good athlete. So I just met a lot of people real fast, and I was able to jump into the stunt world because I played in some stunt leagues, softball, and I moved fast where, the extra jobs like on Baywatch ended up being the stunt doubling jobs. But you asked me about speaking roles. Tony Scott and Ridley Scott were a big influence on me being an actor, and I don't tell that much in auditions, but I had an opportunity to read for Thelma and Louise early on in my career, and I bombed the audition. I mean, because I just didn't have skill set to get in the audition room. And I was more of a stunt guy. And then after that job, I started going to classes and stuff. And then I met up with Tony Scott and Ridley Scott. Those are different stories, but they really encouraged me, that they liked my look and thought I should pursue acting. So when you have a director like that tell you, you have something, or you may want to really pursue this, and I always kept their voices in the back of my head, and went to work as far as studying with different teachers, and just kind of letting work lead to more work. So and then it was like going back to Burt Reynolds. I remember him say, "How can you move your mouth and make money instead of hitting the ground and making money?" So I added that to my skill set, where the stunt coordinators know you can handle dialogue, and they don't have to double you, can put you in a it's a referral type business too. So did I answer your question?
Yeah, no, very cool, very cool. Now, what would you consider was your very first big break as an actor?
There were a lot of breaks, like every movie that I did, I have a story about that, who I worked with, how work led to more work through that job. Big break. There's a couple different breaks, but I have to go to For Love of the Game, where I met Sam Raimi, and playing Sam Tuttle in that movie.
Yeah.
And then that led to 2 or 3 years later of getting Spider-Man, where I was able to play the carjacker, and that was a big break for me, because it opened me up to a lot of bad guy roles. But there are other breaks, like Adam Sandler, Waterboy, and doing every job. Like I said, there was a certain type of break.
I got you.
That one really opened up a lot of opportunity as far as being on camera and moving your mouth and making money.
Sweet. Now, being cast for a Marvel movie like Spider-Man is huge. I mean, were you a fan of superheroes growing up as a kid?
That's a great story, man. I didn't. Grant Curtis was Sam Raimi's assistant. He ends up being a producer on Spider-Man, but for Love of the Game, he was an assistant. And I remember him calling me up, and LAX. He said, "Hey, Papajohn, me and Sam think you're right for this role. Why don't you come in the Sony lot and read for it? And you're going to be reading for a part in Spider-Man." And I didn't know. I saw the sides, and it said, when you pick up your part and you're reading it, I didn't know anything about the carjacker, but I remember it saying burglar. I didn't know anything about the burglar, the carjacker. And I was kind of, make this story quick, when after I read for it, they called me, and I was on the set of The Animal, which was Adam Sandler's production company.
Yeah.
And I was working with Rob Schneider, and I was with another actor, and I said, "Hey, I just booked Spider-Man, and I'm so excited." And the guy goes, "What are you playing?" And I said, "Well, I'm playing the carjacker or the burglar," or something like that. And he grabbed my arm, and he took me right to the producer, which was Carr D'Angelo. And the actor told Carr what I was playing, and their mouths dropped. They go, "Oh man, you're the reason Spider-Man becomes Spider-Man." And they started excited for me. So then I knew what a pivotal role it was. From their reaction. And they brought a book to me the next day that showed the comic book on the set. They go, "You need to get this signed by Toby and Sam at the end of the shoot." And I ended up getting that book signed, but I bought another one just like it and got it signed for Carr, which was really cool. He's in the comic book world now. I think he owns a comic book store or shop out in Studio City or somewhere in California. But it was his generosity that was really cool, that he brought that book. But I think, did I answer your question, how I got that role?
Yeah. Well, I was just asking you if you were a fan of superheroes, growing up, like what it meant to you to be on Spider-Man.
Well, no. I wasn't. I didn't read much growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I was more had some learning disabilities in school, and just didn't picking up a book and reading it from beginning, middle, and end. I just didn't do a whole lot of that. I had a lot of distraction things, and but when I grabbed that role, I felt a response. I felt a lot of pressure to do it right, but
Yeah.
whatever right is. I mean, I just felt that I really dove into it,
Yeah.
and I really dove in. And it was great when I started doing the comic conventions and doing the signings. I could see the 8 or 9-year-old kid come up to me for an autograph. And it's not about me giving an autograph, but the 40-year-old dad was more excited than the kid,
Yeah.
because he read, honestly, because he read the comic book.
Yeah.
But when I got the role, yes, when I started doing research about it and how, those comic books have shaped a lot of people's lives, and that's what I was really tapping into. And when I played the carjack and the burglar, I didn't want to play him like a good fella, like a guy that handled the gun and shot people before. I played him. I just really made a choice of a guy that was really down and out, man, and just trying to make ends meet, and was just which adds a vulnerability to not just a bad guy, and put the money in the bag with the weapon.
Yeah.
Try to give him. He was rock bottom, man. He was rock bottom.
Yeah, definitely, man. And you did a great job as well. Now, you've had several fight scenes with some of the biggest.
Thanks, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Thanks.
You've had several fight scenes with some of the biggest names in the industry, as well as being a stunt double for some of the biggest names. Who did you enjoy being a stunt double for the most?
Well, I mean, of course, Bobby Boucher and Adam Sandler and Waterboy, and I saw your interview with Alan, which was great. You did a great job
Thank you.
with his interview, and he was awesome, man. Because when you reached out to me about this Skype interview, I went online and checked out it on YouTube and checked out your interview with Alan. And I know Alan, and Alan had some great advice for comedians and people getting in the business. I thought that was really cool what he had to say, and but it goes back to Waterboy, just Bobby Boucher and working with Adam and Alan and Adam's team, which he hires a lot of his guys from NYU. And it was just the set was a lot of fun, but honestly, it was the hardest job I've ever had, just because I was in all those football hits, and they were the single bar face mask, but that part opened me up to a relationship with Happy Madison and Adam Sandler and all those guys, which ended up me getting on the Longest Yard, and there were others that I was involved with because of the Waterboys. So doubling someone would be the man. I couldn't believe how that film has had some life.
Oh yeah,
I know, in Louisiana especially, man. To move back here, man. It's a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, that movie was great, hilarious. Now,
I'll tell you one story about Waterboy.
Yeah, tell me.
What's crazy is I moved to Baton Rouge 6-7 years ago, and I was like, in my mind, could I make a living in the movie business, not being in California? And with these tax incentives in the Southeast, and of course, they're shooting a lot of movies in Atlanta and New Orleans. And my son goes to U High. It's a high school on campus at LSU, and they had a 20-year Waterboy reunion for the Mud Dogs, and they could have picked any high school in the country, to wear the Mud Dog uniforms for the 20th anniversary, and they picked my son's high school. So we got to go out at halftime and wear the jersey, me and my son, and flip the coin. I mean, what are the chances of that, man? It kind of came full circle. Yeah, it was real cool. Real cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, you fought many big names in the actor. Like you've been in fight roles with Bruce Willis, Cameron Diaz, I believe Matt Damon. Did you?
Jeremy Renner.
Yeah.
That
in the movie, and several others. What was your favorite fight scene of yours that you've done?
You mentioned Jeremy Renner. Working on Born Legacy and working with him, how he broke down every beat of the fight. Like he wanted he had an intention. What's my intention? It was like he was breaking down a scene and a scene with a lot of dialogue. You
Wow.
know, it's just how specific he was on every beat, on what was making him make his next move. He was big on his intention, and the rehearsal process with him was really cool. And I actually never looked at a fight again the same way after working with him.
Wow.
So I'm a big fan of his, of course, but everyone is different. Cameron Diaz and Charlie's Angels. I mean, you got a beautiful woman there that you get to work with. It was really cool, and came in the rehearsal with not wearing any makeup and just down to earth, and with a director called Mick G. This director that ended up hiring me. I've worked with Mick G. He's a really cool guy too, but that was a cool fight scene with Cameron Diaz. And I look back at Arnold and Schwarzenegger, and I'm able to say these names, and it's really my life. Not from. I'm not an arrogant guy. It's just like I got to go on set and kind of go toe to toe with these guys.
Yeah, it's
and
awesome.
and it was really cool. But every fight, like I said, every movie's a different story. But what stands out to me the most was Jeremy Renner. And I look at the movies now. I'm not a martial art guy, man. I came up in the business when John Wick. I mean, the John Wick thing has changed the game.
Yeah.
But I look back at where I was with moving my mouth and making money and being able to throw a few punches and be able to hit the ground. And I was real coachable too. So if there was a job that I was going into, I could go get help. It's funny you mentioned what fight scene, the people that have killed me, and I've killed a few myself. What was cool, I did a movie called Drive Angry, and I got to get a cow prod and hit Nicolas Cage on the back. I got to beat him up, and that felt so good because you never get a really beat the number one on the call sheets. Your A-list guy.
Yeah,
exactly. You're usually getting beat up or getting shot or killed. But it feels so good to pull that cow prod out and hit him right on the back about 3 or 4 times. Then Amber Heard shot a gun and this bullet and she killed me. But it's funny the story there was a lot of pleasure in hitting that Nicolas Cage just because I got to really win. Finally.
Now, have you ever been injured on the job doing a stunt?
Yeah, I have, man. That's a great question. A lot of stunt guys don't want to talk about their injuries, because they work wants to lead to more work, and you don't want to, But I did a fight scene with Nicolas Cage in a movie called Rage, and I was in Mobile, and I got my head shaking, and I got post-concussion syndrome, and it was just, I had to step away from the business for a little bit, and I've never really talked about that, but I got banged up in Waterboy, just where physically you're just doing a lot, and but I got through it. But Drive Angry, Drive Angry, I worked with Nicolas Cage. I didn't get hurt in that, but really the Rage, a movie I did in 2013. But it also made me look at maybe picking up a documentary on the concussion business, not just the stunt business with guys that have dealt with concussions in the stunt business, which is interesting because a lot of them don't want to talk about it. But I healed from that and everything. But it was a chance where it was a time where, like the pandemic, I mean, you got to step back and not work. And the feelings that come up with a lot going on, people calling you up to work, and you just go, I gotta take a little time off, So, but that's my only injury, besides getting banged up a little bit through being sore, hitting the ground, but I've been pretty lucky overall. I feel very blessed that I was able to do the things I did and just come away with post-concussion syndrome in a period in my life where I had to, step away from the business for 6 months,
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Now,
I'm 50. Hey man, I'm 55 now. I need a stunt double.
there you go. Now, what's been your favorite role to date? What your favorite role you've acted in?
Well, this past year, man, I did some really I just did a movie with Russell Crowe called Unhinged, and that movie comes out July 1st. We actually play a good cop, which was kind of nice. That's just something that's coming out. I think it's going to be the first movie that actually goes to the theaters.
Nice.
Since the pandemic. But my favorite role, I had a really cool deal on True Detective. That stands out. I look back at The Friend, where I played an oncologist. It was a movie I did this past year where, I played an oncologist, a doctor, and it's a true story. And it just meant a lot to me because I was able to not be the action guy or the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
I liked American Ultra a lot, even though my part got cut up a lot. I like that part a lot, Otis. But I'm what was my favorite? I look back at Little Big League and just the fun I had in 1994, 94 doing that movie. When you ask about a favorite part, you kind of think about your age and where you're at.
Yeah.
And, it's the business is so competitive that when you get a part, I never looked at it as a small part, big part. It was a part. It was an opportunity to go on a set and work. And favorite part, yeah, I would have to say, and then you think of Spider-Man. You think of, you think of Longest Yard. I'm just popping some movies in my mind because I got to be with Romo and Bosworth and Adam Sandler again.
Yeah.
And so it's not so much sometimes the part, it's the experience on the set also while you're playing the part. Sometimes you think about that on-set experience, which adds to playing the role, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, every movie has its thing then.
Yeah, for sure. I've been on no budget, low budget, medium budget, huge budget.
Yeah.
So.
Now, I know you play a lot of bad guys. What is Michael Papajohn's dream role? Do you enjoy playing the bad guy, or is there a role you would like to try that you have not yet tried?
Man, you're asking some good ones. I want to play a therapist. I mean, just like, the late Bracco, what's her name? Lorraine Bracco from, what was the Sopranos, where she was played the therapist. I think about just being a therapist and really sitting down and talking to someone and wearing some glasses. I think about playing a role like that. I love playing a dad role. So, I'm getting older now, so I've been able to jump in the situation where I'm playing leader on Black and Blue. My part got cut out of that. It's funny, this past year you do roles and the movie comes out and sometimes you get cut out or, they editing and you never know. But you asked me about my roles. I'm 55, so I'm really stepping into the leadership type roles, telling people what to do type roles, which would be the SWAT leader, the police captain, the True Detective was a vice cop. I like cops a lot. DNA, feel like cop roles are in my DNA. There's some roles that when you just pick up sides to read, you're close to them. And for me personally, cop roles, I'm just real close to. They're just kind of in my DNA, trying to find out the truth. But I like coaching. I did a movie called Walk Away Joe, and I played a coach. And I remember thinking of my high school coach when I was playing it. Sammy Dunn, my high school coach, was a real big influence on me. And the producer just emailed me and said, "Hey, Michael, we had to cut your scene out of the movie." And I did stunt coordinate that movie, but I actually got to play, and I had a part with David Strathern, and it was a coach role, and it just got cut. But so you're asking me about parts. I would say like the leadership role, the cop role, the dad role, And I've never told anybody that I want to play a therapist, but I totally want to play a therapist.
There you go.
Where you sit down in front of me and I go, "Hey, Mr. Tucker, where are you at today?" So that's kind of so cool.
Well, if you're a casting director watching, hit up my guy for a therapist job.
I never thought I'd say that on an interview, but you asked me, so I did.
No, that's cool, man. Now, in your opinion, do you think COVID-19 will change the way things have been done in the movie industry, or do you think we'll be back to what we know as normal for the industry?
I think that I think it's just going to be a different on set experience.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have to make some changes, and I think everybody's going to be respect other people and have maybe a lot more compassion, and people are going to slow down, and these are the rules, and this is how we're going to have to play the game. And when you get on a set too, it always felt like a family type atmosphere to me. And that's what, when you didn't work for like 2, 3, or 4 months, even sometimes you go through a period where you don't work, something happens, you don't work in the business. I always felt, God, man, I miss my family in a way. And then you go to a set and then you feel that family experience. But of course, I believe the movie business is going to change. It's going to be, but it's going to, we're going to get through it, and we're going to film, and we're going to tell stories, and you know what? It might be better in the big picture.
Yeah, I read an article. I don't know how good of a source it was. I can't remember where I read it, but I read an article about possibly doing away with extras for background people and having it all be computer work. Which it's probably just some kind of rumor being thrown out there, but hopefully it doesn't go down to that.
Yeah, no, I think we're just trying to find a way right now, but it's going to work out. They were talking about Louisiana. They're going to maybe start up production again in the middle of July or the end of July. And that startup production might be the first commercial that they have a crew, whatever. So, but it's, it's
cool, man.
Going to be different.
What's some advice?
But you start thinking about fight scenes and start thinking about action and how they're going to shoot the action. And is the stunt double going to do more of the fight than the lead actor? And I know it comes down to right now is they're trying to find out the insurance productions being covered by the insurance is a big question mark, but they'll get it figured out. Yeah,
I agree. Now, what's some advice you could give to someone looking to start acting?
What's your advice? What's my advice? Tucker, would you have a nickname?
Do I have a nickname?
Yeah.
No. Not really. Some people call me Tucker. Some people call me Kendall T.
Kendall T. Now, I'm going to call you Tucker, man.
All right, that's fine.
My advice is, if you really want to be in the movie business, you need to get on. If you're not sure what you want to do in the movie business, then that's one thing. And that is, I'm big on PA work. Even Alan talked about getting on a set and being on a set and watching departments work and find out what really juices you, in the movie business. And the production work is where you can meet a lot of people, and then you can become you can look at that DP job and go, that's what I want to do, and you can find some mentors and coaching in the industry, and just, I think getting on a set is important. But if you're not sure what you want to do, I mean, a lot of people can just do extra work and get on a set, kind of fill it out, with a movie.
Yeah.
But if you really, like you said, if you want to do stunts or you want to act, if you know what area you really want to do, I think you can, man, it's a tough business. It is, man. And it's, dealing with rejection and continuing to show up, and I'm just big on relationships and training, and but what a fun business. And it's just like Grant Curtis was, or Sam Raimi's assistant, but now he's a producer now. I'm pretty sure he's hooked up with Marvel now, but I watched, I've watched a lot of people start out as production assistants, and now they're above the line, which is really cool. It's really cool to watch stuntmen that become, directing,
Yeah.
and making the move there too,
Very cool. Very cool. Well, Michael, man, I appreciate you taking time out of your day to sit down with me, and I look forward to seeing more of your work on the big screen.
Kendall Tucker, thanks for having me, man. I really, I just want to end with this. People ask me, what's it like to be an actor and do what you do? And I feel like I'm 7, 8, 9 years old and it's Halloween and what are you going to be?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you're a kid. And I always, if you, I don't know, I want to end by just saying, when I do an interview like this, I really get to think about the Sam Raimis and the Taylor Hackford and my baseball coach and the people that helped me along the way, the stunt coordinators that gave me breaks. You always, I saw Alan's interview and you think of Adam Sandler, Waterboy. I name those people because, when you're making your way in this very competitive business, you see the people that were generous to you and helped you. And then all of a sudden you blink and you're 55 years old and now I'm looking for a stunt double. So Kendall Tucker, thanks for having me, man. I think it's really cool what you do because you get to get people's perspective in this crazy business and this very competitive business. And I think content is real cool. I think interviews are cool. And thanks for having me, man.
Thank
I really
you.
appreciate it.
Appreciate
See you,
it.
buddy.